What's up, everyone? So I'm going to do a new tool today that's going to look at patterns. And basically, if you have something that has some sort of repeating grid or repeating feature, you can use this. There's a two-dimensional variation of it, as well as a three-dimensional variation of it, and both of them, so I'll show you in 2D. Right down here, we do have mirror, which copies over a line. We have circular, which copies around a shape or a spot, and we have rectangular. But for this one, I'm just going to focus on rectangular pattern. I have another idea to do something with circular pattern. So we're going to do rectangular pattern, but we're actually going to use this tool in 3D. So I want to make sort of a rack for like a coat. So I'm just going kind of quick, just to get this set up because you already know how to extrude. Now I want to make like a coat rack, so maybe I'll do some type of hook thing. So if I want to place this hook thing, so I'm thinking it's going to go somewhere like maybe here. Okay, I think I'm going to extrude it, and I'm going to cut out the shape I want. So like think of this as like the solid, and then I'll put another extrusion on the side of this, and then punch out sort of something that's going to give me a hook shape. You could use arcs. It would make it look more smooth. Now, with negative cutouts, you do need to make sure it is a completed shape. Generally, you know if it's a completed shape because the middle turns kind of a bluish color. Let's see, it didn't do that for me here, but let me see if it still works. There we go. So let me select these separately. So I will select that. I will push it in, which it's figured out I want it to be a cut. Cool. So now I have a hook. But I want hooks along this whole thing, and I want them evenly spaced because I'm the designer and I want it to be a certain way. So the tool for the pattern, it looks the same as it did on the 2D menu, and I can still get it from the drop down here. So there's mirror, and then there's pattern, so there's a rectangular pattern or the circular pattern. So I'm going to use the rectangular pattern, which is in the shortcut menu on mine right here. And what this is going to let me do is it'll let me select a feature and copy it. So let me see if I can select features. There we go. So I want to select all of this. Yeah, just make sure it's all selected. If you don't change this, so the body, technically this whole thing is a body, and we haven't covered that yet. That's going to be a little bit more complicated, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So I'm going to have that feature, and then for direction, you can select anything that goes in the direction that you want it to be. So what I mean by that is like this edge goes in the direction that I want this to copy, and then I can move it along that edge. And it's like going to make the copies I need. Now if I can tell it I want maybe 5 hooks. Oh, whoops, I accidentally selected in the Y, or the wrong direction. So this there you can go in 2 directions. So if you want to, you could also copy them vertically. So if I move this down, so it'll show me like what it would look like for the 5. But I actually don't want copies that way on this one. So I'm just going to do that one. So there is 5 copies. And although there's a lot more with this, that's just what I'm going to go with for now. And what I'm going to have you do is come up with something that has some sort of pattern on it, some sort of feature on it that duplicates. Another cool thing with this is negative cutouts are also patternable. They are things that I can, it's a feature. I can select that feature, and I should be able to select the direction and go along this. Do 5 again. There is no basis to what I am doing right now. It's just kind of seeing what I can get away with. Alright, then we go 4. So it actually has pieces. I can move this one back to here. There we go. It's okay. So I patterned the negative space as well as the positive space on this one. So you can do whatever you want as long as you are doing some sort of pattern with the features. So don't forget, if you click on pattern, the type, you're going to want to make sure you select features. It's default on bodies, but I'm going to want you to change that to features so you can select the parts of your piece that you modeled. So for this assignment, anything you want to make, as long as it is a recognizable object, try to create that using some type of pattern, positive or negative. Let me know if you have any questions.